Hello guys, welcome to round 12 NRL Fantasy Buy Hold Sell. And today Rhino's going to do the intro.
I am apparently. So yeah, round 12, but obviously a bit of a frustrating week uh all round due to a few injuries, as we'll see later on. But round 12 though, big origin period now. Uh First round of that, and some pretty good buys this week. So we'll start off with
We'll
oh,
start off with this surprise slide.
okay.
Shout
Oh
out
wow.
boy Damo, who picked Kaloa Matangi perfectly. Although he's not playing this week, I think he got 81 points. So
Yeah.
massive pickup, and we'll definitely both be looking to get him next week. And then also shout out to my boy Lucas Sella for going to Adam Fanua Blake. Very big pickups, boys. Holy dude, there's an enormous, massive spider in my room. I just saw.
That's a bit of extra fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Starting off with Heavy Farnworth. Obviously a great buy this round. Misses 13, 18, which is something you have to consider, but he hasn't scored below 40 the entire year. It is priced quite high, but it's clearly like the best center option in the game at the moment, and could do really well this week against a depleted side. And yeah, I mean, it also is expensive, but like at this point in the season now, when everyone has a bit of cash to spend, it kind of is about bringing in the best options, right?
Yeah, I think it's also worth remembering that he's probably the best looking guy in the league. So good to have in your team.
Does help, yeah, does help for sure.
This is my boy. This is also Lucas Sella's boy, Adam Fanua Blake. Um, I sometimes get gut feelings with players where I get a bit scared thinking that they're not going to do well. And unfortunately, I sort of have that gut feeling for Adam Fanua Blake. I feel like he has been doing very well consistently. He's been getting tries. And I don't know if it's really sustainable. I think at this price point, he's not necessarily good value, but he has such a good buy schedule. He's filling that mid position. He has consistently been doing scores. So, I'm not going to let my paranoia get to me. And he is someone I am buying myself this week, and I think he is a perfect option considering so many of our key players like Terrell May and Payne Haas will be off due to original buys.
Yeah, definitely. The only issue with him is like some games he does dip into like the low, like into teens and tackles. Like I think 2 weeks ago it was 16 tackles against Manly, which obviously isn't really kind of good enough for like a middle prop that you're paying 700K for. So that's why it can be a bit inconsistent, but
Yeah.
still averages out. Still averages out pretty well. Scores tries, gets line breaks, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's still fine to bring him in. Then Katoa, obviously a very popular buy-in this week. I just think like obviously it's the only one average in the last 3 games, just playing super well in a lot of base stats as well. And so yes, I think it's been like 5 turnover tackles in the last 3 weeks, which is what they should 20 points he's got just from those alone. So that is something to consider, but he's playing well. He's scoring even when his team isn't winning. So with the low break even as well, it's pretty hard to miss out on him.
Yeah, he's such a good playmaker. I feel like he's almost still underrated, I guess, with how
Yeah,
efficient and creative he gets with it. And with continued kicking duties, there's going to be a lot of points for him over the next few weeks.
yeah, definitely.
Blake Brayley, I had a couple of weeks ago. I think he's just a great hooker option. He's safe, he's stable, and particularly with round 15 coming up, there's going to be no Aaron Clark, there's going to be no Riley Smith. I think we mentioned last week if you don't have both of those guys, or if, well, I mean, yeah, I think you need someone as a hooker, and if you don't have both, he's a good pickup to complement one of them.
Yeah, I guess the only thing to consider is how many of the Sharks and Dolphins players you're bringing in, and to not get too many of each of them. But
Yeah,
apart from that, you're
that's
definitely
true.
probably like the second best option this week. Or I guess there is Wade Egan, but probably not as big of a buy. So yeah, good option for this week. Then Teddy's a player that I'm definitely looking at bringing in. The only concern that I have is, well, yeah, in my team there are quite a few wing fullbacks that I've got, and it kind of forces out someone else that I probably should be playing, like a Tamale or like a Sharp, someone like that. So I'm not too sure if we'll get in my team, but great buy schedule. Bit of a tough game this week against pretty much full strength Cronulla. but still, I think you can't go wrong at this price as well. Can obviously go big, and all of a sudden he's up at 750K again, and you missed out on him. So it's definitely one to get to consider
Yeah,
this week.
he's a tackle break like merchant. He knows what he's
Mm,
doing. I think if it wasn't for Dylan Edwards getting picked for Origin last year, I think Teddy would have been picked again this year. He's been in form this year, and he probably deserved it more. But I touch wood, I'm pretty confident New South Wales will not have any issues with Origin. So I think Teddy will keep his Roosters starting spot and not have those concerns throughout the year. So I made the punt
yeah.
earlier that this would be the case, and it paid off well. And he's a bit more expensive now, but yeah, great to hop on.
Mm,
Tarpany, I also bought last week purely just for that average and that reliability with mid coverage and points within the mids. It's a bit unfortunate because now I have four Roosters and four Raiders, I believe, which isn't the best, particularly with buys coming up in the future. But yeah, he's not playing Origin because he's not eligible. He wasn't a New South Wales or Queenslander. And he's just been very consistent this year. Historically, he does a lot better over the Origin period as well, going up against weaker sides as a middle. And I think, and I hope he will show up big this weekend for me.
yeah, probably should be the best captaincy option, very close to Clark and Katoa as well. I guess for me, still owning Corey Horsburgh, it's kind of tough to think of both of them, especially considering like Tapani's price kind of seemed a lot more like worth it when Horsburgh would be out of the side and he's the main prop. So that's the kind of issue for me. But if you have neither of them, I definitely think he's probably the best mid to buy this week and to captain as well. Then Ruben Garrick, obviously, dropped from about 650K down to 600K now. Uh, just not consistent, but if you bring him in now, he's probably going to average around at 50 points over the over the rest of the year. Really, has some pretty good fixtures as well. With Manly up against the Eels this week, and then the Broncos at home. So I think it's just a pretty safe pick. Has a dual positioning, kicks goals. He hasn't actually been that involved in the attack this year overall, and kind of has been saved a little bit by his four try 100 point game
Yeah.
with his average. But
Yeah, he needs to
I don't
definitely
know. I
pick,
think
I think.
yeah, I think if you're looking for someone who just gives you great buy coverage though, he definitely is someone to consider.
Yeah, he's gonna have kicking duties. I guess like you've mentioned, very rocks and diamonds, but hopefully those attacking stats do come up. I think last week he had a lot of defensive stats. I think he had a bunch of turnover
Mm,
tackles, which probably is a bit of a worry in terms of consistency with points, but I mean, you can't complain having a center that is reliable on defense, but it's just not that you'll be expecting that every week. But yeah, great option over this period. I don't think a lot of Manly players are viable buys at the moment, which means you won't have issues with, buy planning with having too many Manly players. So I think he's a good buy.
definitely.
Nico Hines was somebody I was considering last week. Basically, I think I was really close. I think it was a minute decision. I was going to do Cleary to Hines, but I decided against it. And the main reason I did decide against it because it was last minute, which I don't like doing, but also I wanted to get Katoa. So I don't think Hines is a buy over Katoa. I think Katoa is definitely a better buy, especially because their schedule will be pretty much the exact same. But
Yeah.
Sharks are pretty much running at full strength. I don't think they've lost anyone, have they, to Origin at all?
No, yeah, they're all there. So
So yeah, great schedule. He used to be up in the leagues with Cleary a couple years ago in terms of fantasy output, and he has declined a little bit in previous years, but I think he still has it in him. He has very reliable base stats, and he could go crazy over this period.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of lacking a few run meters this year, few kick meters as well, which is kind of why he's dropped off from that 60 average plus to more of a mid 50s. But for a pretty safe pick, like Katoa could come out and just go back to not kind of how he's scoring at the start of the year, and Hines could just keep doing what he's doing. So I don't mind it. They're both pretty similarly owned overall, so it's not like one's a bit of like a more of a pod than the other, but it's fun to bring him in, and it's pretty good value for Hines as well. Onto the holds, we've got Payne Haas here, who I've definitely toyed around with a few trades involving him this week. Mainly just sort of not doing it because of the fact that there aren't too many high price guys that I want to bring in right now. Whereas in the future, we've got Campbell and Palmatangi to consider bringing in. So I think he probably is a hold. But what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think it really depends on how much cash you need and who you want to pivot to. I do agree. I think Kaloa Matangi is definitely a buy in the coming weeks. I think Couchman will be eventually when his
Yeah,
price evens
yeah.
out after his high break even. I don't know about Jaden Campbell. I was mentioning I think I'm a bit less on him after Foreign's return, but we'll wait and see how that goes. But I think, yeah, it's really dependent. It could be a hold, could be a sell. In my opinion, I think he's probably capped out at price. I think if anything, he maybe gets to 1 million, but I feel like especially over this Origin period, it's safe to sell because I don't think he will be extending too far in his cost.
You know, yeah, especially with that injury as well. Like it's a good chance he probably misses at least one backup game, potentially even two. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden he's playing 3 games in 9 weeks. And yeah, it's definitely one that I'd like. But I know people have a lot of cash to spend this year overall, but it's still be nice to be able to really upgrade some sort of mid ranges into some more serious guns in your team.
Yeah, I guess the worry is also he can go crazy even in like 40, 50 minutes. So there's the possibility he does that and you miss out. I think I kind of suffered a bit with
True.
Corey Horsburgh. I traded him out prematurely because I was confident he'd make Origin and he hasn't, and it's coming to bite me on the back a little bit, I think, looking forward. But
That's a good one.
yeah, very dependent. Moving on to Toya, I think Toya's a hold this week. He'll be playing Origin, so he won't be in the side. But he has a break even of 0. He has a great schedule coming forward. Um, he probably becomes a sell soon, just because he will likely, I believe, be picked for the other games. But he still has a bit of cash to make, and yeah, he'll be good for the couple weeks in between these two Origins. But the time is coming near. I think. Do you have any disagreements with that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's fine to sell this week if you want to upgrade him. It's not like obviously it's not at a price where it's easy to go up, but I reckon keep him this week. Hopefully, he scores like a 40 next week, makes you a bit more cash, and then you can decide play to either loop in round 14 or sell him in 15. He makes Origin game two, pretty much. And so it's kind of similar with Purdue. I think if you have both of them, both Purdue and Toy, you probably can sell one of them. But keeping the other one as a loop, I think is great. Purdue didn't play great, but neither did like the whole team against Manly last week. So I mean, I don't own him, so obviously it's a bit different for you, but I still kind of want to see him play in the halves in a game where they actually play well as a team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have both Toya and Purdue and Haas, to be honest. I think I'll be holding Purdue this week just for the value he brings with being able to loop. I have some centers I can loop through. So that's why I'll be holding him, and I agree. I think he can do a bit better than he has, but I was a bit I was expecting a lower score. I think he probably does get more fantasy points on the center, but I'm happy for him to prove me wrong in the coming weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And then obviously holding as well. Like anyone who plays this week, it's just unless you really there's a good trade you can set up. Just use people to loop through, try and get the best score you can. Uh, yeah, pretty simple with that. Onto the cells. Obviously, Kellen Ponga. I just think it was fun to hold him. Like whilst we all thought he might start scoring better again, but like right now he's going to miss 12, 15, 18. He might not back up this week. They're Newcastle playing on Friday in round 13. So just a pretty easy sell.
Yeah, I think all it'll take is for him to come back at the end of Origin, maybe have one crazy game to get that break even into a respectable area, and people might take the jump on him again. But it is a bit concerning. His
For
consistency
sure.
hasn't been there.
Yeah.
I think, although it's quite far away long term, I think Latrell Mitchell is a nice wing fullback option to have. So Ponga might be fading into irrelevancy, possibly. I guess
Well,
time.
there's definitely in this nice team as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess
And there you go.
Jinx. I guess everyone else on this list is out due to injury.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate with Kiraz, very unfortunate with Egan last week. I think it was less damaging for Egan because he's owned by a lot of people. Kiraz, I'm happy he still managed to score for me, but it is very disappointing because he was a major part of my buy planning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that flight probably could hold. 'Cause apparently he should be back by round 15, I think. So could hold him, but like right now you kind of need players in the park and yeah. I think it's just a good time to sell and bring someone else in. On to last week's top 1,000 score, 954. So it's a bit lower, understandable due to like players like Egan and who else was there? They went low. Also like Sabala went low as well.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, Pedro as well. So yeah, but yeah, see like the salary cap's on obviously even like plateau a little bit, 13.74. I think we're both pretty similar to that actually as well. So which
Yeah.
is good. But yeah, your teammate.
Yep. So I think this was all pretty well planned. I don't think I had any last minute changes. I went Tarpany and Hosking. Hosking is also, I guess, a buy this week. We didn't touch on, but he was also last week. Yeah, so Nicholson and Couchman out. I think just injuries to points, so pretty simple.
Hmm.
So yeah, my 11 team. I was concerned about the rain on the Sunday, which is why I went ahead and captain Payne Haas. When he got the 70, I was pretty happy with it, but then obviously Terrell May went out and got 109, so it was a bit disappointing. I probably could have made quite a few ranks if I did jump on that. But yeah, apart from that, the only disappointment was Savala and Purdue. But I mean, there's not much you can do about that. I guess that happens. So yeah, despite the wrong captaincy choice, I managed to move up 306 ranks, which keeps me in the top 5K, which I'm not complaining about.
Yeah, definitely.
And then yeah, trade history still got quite a lot of trades left, so looking good. And I think sort of as I touched on already, Adam Fanua Blake and Katoa for Egan and Karaz. I think sometimes it's a shame that you have these injuries, but it makes the game a bit more interesting because it gives you the excuse to do these interesting trades and to go for
Mm.
players. The only other thing I'm considering is possibly moving Payne Haas out for Herbie Farnworth, but I think I have my sights more set on Kaloa Matangi in the coming weeks, so maybe Payne Haas will be a pivot to that, but we'll see. And then yeah, just got a nice setup for loops. Um, Garrick and Katonga there. I guess if either of them don't do well, there's an opportunity for me to sell Payne Haas for a different center. Very unlikely to happen,
Um,
but I've just set it up because I may as well loop Qatar as well. So yeah.
yeah. Right, so my team, yeah, just one trade last week. Obviously, I made it. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Went that pretty well. 907, so it's a bit less than you, obviously, as well. Unfortunately, jumped on the Haas captaincy. It made a lot of sense. And then mate just comes down and scores his best score in his career. So that's fantastic, isn't it? Then obviously Drinkwater as well. Just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how he got 18. I actually looked pretty good in the game. I think he had one try that was called back and overturned. So they're rough, but I think still, yeah, still went up 300 ranks similar to you. So edging ever closer, but kind of needs that's like that big week still to sort of really jump up bulk ranks, and hopefully, kind of like how my planning's been with over the origin period, I should be able to make those ranks in the next few weeks. Let's trade history there. I mean, I think yeah, still see three more trades using you, which is it's not ideal, but anyway, trades in this week. Obviously, a bit of a pod here in Tahiaho. I think on like 1% ownership. It really is just situational. I want to say Fede for this reason to cover me in mids. As like a mid range and mid to cover me. He's out now. Tahiaho, I think like the last 5 weeks, he scored for 40 4 times. And the one time he didn't was a sin bin penalty game where obviously he played less minutes, got the -7. So honestly, pretty consistent. He's Manly's main prop at the moment. So he's going to play around 50 minutes a game. So look, there's worse picks out there. He's not in the buy because I wouldn't recommend it for every team, but for me works out. And obviously Katara as well. Great score to bring in. And then yeah, it's my plan as well. See three loops going on. I was trying to figure out some more creative ways to do it, but I think it is just a bit of a safety loop for Qatar and kind of looping through my wing fullbacks and centers there. So it's a pretty strong side, same as yours, and hopefully should be in for another good week.
Yeah, it's nice you got that drink water loop. I don't have a wing fullback loop. I think that's going to be very useful. But yeah, these next few weeks are, I guess, the more important ones for making ranks, and I think both of us have set ourselves up pretty well for it.
Hopefully.
Right, if you guys have any trades you're not too sure about, or you just want to share what you're thinking, feel free to chuck it in the comments, and we'll get back to you. And as always, best of luck, everybody.
Thanks, guys.